Alright everyone, my call is November 5, Yankee Alpha November, and the UT Amateur Radio Club weekly night net is going to start soon. Good evening everyone, it is currently 8 p.m. Central Time. My name is David, call sign November 5, Yankee Alpha November, and you're listening to the UT Austin Amateur Radio Club weekly night net. You can hear us here on the KA5D University Link repeater system and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system. Break. More information about these repeaters, such as All-Star Link status, frequency, and tone information, along with other useful things, make sure to check out ka5d.com and n5oak.org respectively. You can also find us on Echolink by connecting to ka5d-r or n5oak-r. For All-Star, use node 51444. For anyone just now joining us, this is the UT Amateur Radio Club weekly night net. This is David, November 5, Yankee Alpha November, and I'm net control for this evening. Real quick note, I have a math test tomorrow, and reviewing it, I've realized that it's going to be much harder than anticipated, so this is going to be a very quick net. With this in mind, we'll go ahead and check for emergency traffic. If you do have an emergency during this net, please say break, and we'll pause the net to try and help. Any emergency traffic, please come now. Okay, so this is basically just a social net. We're going to go ahead and discuss club activities, ask questions, and generally just keep in touch. All hams are invited, new and experienced. I'll go ahead and check everyone in a first round, and then we'll go down the list one at a time to give you the floor. Make sure to ask family-friendly topics and questions. Also, if you're short time, we will not be speaking with you, so you can go about your day. What else? I don't have the script on me, so go easy. Break. I think I covered everything. We'll go ahead and move on down to short time check-ins, but first, you're listening to the UT Amateur Radio Club weekly net, hosted by the UT Austin Amateur Radio Club call sign November 5, X-ray uniform. You can catch us here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on the KA5D University Link repeater system and the Oak Hill Amateur Radio Club repeater system. You can find more info at ka5d.com/repeaters and n5oak.org/repeaters. Club news, we'll have a meeting next Thursday, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, and it'll be in the ETC building. More information can be found on our Discord server or on the mailing list. You can find dates for events at sites.utexas.edu/n5xu. Break. With this, we're going to go ahead and move into short time check-ins. So if you can't stay the entire net, but would still like to make it into the log, you can come now in this round of check-ins. We're not going to be opening the floor for comments or questions for the short timers, but you'll get your name in the log if that's important to you. Okay, any short time check-ins, please come now with your name and call, slowly and phonetically.
This is WZ5BBS, short time, no traffic.
This is. And Rusty, do we have any other short time check-ins? This is.
Kilo Juliet 5 Alpha Victor Juliet. No traffic, short time. Thanks for doing the net. This is Bill.
This is. Any other short time check-ins? Sky N5LX, I think I heard you, I think you doubled the bill. Do you want to go ahead and check in, or was that not you? Okay, nothing heard. We'll move on to regular check-in. Thanks to Rusty and Bill for checking in short time. Hopefully you guys have a nice rest of the day. Okay, so my name is David, call sign November 5 Yankee Alpha November, and I'm net control operator for tonight's UT Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net. In order to check in on our regular check-in round, please say this is, with a short pause to avoid doubling. Then please give us your name and call, slowly and phonetically.
This is Alpha India 5 Juliet Tango Rick, short time.
Gotcha in the log, short time, Rick. Do we have any other check-ins for tonight's UT Austin Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net? Please come now with your name and call sign, slowly and phonetically.
This is November 5 Lima X-Ray Sky.
This is KB5MPJ, Kilo Bravo 5, Mike, Papa Juliet, Jason and Buda.
This is? We have Sky and Jason in the log. Any other regular check-ins for this week's UT Austin Amateur Radio Club Net?
This is Chris, Kilo India 5, November, Lima November, short time, no traffic. Thank you.
Thanks for checking in, Chris. Could I get your call one more time, please?
Sure thing. That is Kilo India 5, Lima November.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chris. And do we have any other regular check-ins for the UT Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net? Okay, nothing heard. We'll go ahead and get started with Sky, November 5 Lima X-Ray. But actually, before I get to you, Sky, I'm going to go ahead and ID. My name is David, Delta Alpha Victor India Delta, and the call sign here is November 5 Yankee Alpha November. I'm the net control operator for tonight's net. If you didn't hear earlier, I have a math test tomorrow, and my professor posted a review, and it seems to be much more challenging than expected, so we're going to try and keep the net short tonight. With that in mind, let's go ahead and talk with Sky, N5LX. Is there anything you'd like to share with us tonight?
Hey, David. Yeah, we don't want to keep you from studying for your math test. That's more important. But I don't have a lot going on. I guess maybe the last time I talked to you, I mentioned trying to install the virtual machine for my Mac. So I thought that would be kind of interesting to run Windows on it, so I can run. There's all kinds of really interesting ham software you can get for PC or Windows. There's a little bit available for Mac, but it's not as well developed. Anyway, so I tried VirtualBox, and I kept thinking I must be doing something wrong, because I kept banging my head against the wall and couldn't get it to work, only to find out that it's not compatible with the newer operating systems. In fact, there are 2 operating systems behind. But other than that, I've heard really good things about it, but it looks like I'm going to have to go to VMware or Parallels, I think.
Very interesting, Sky. And now, is this on the new ARM-based Macs, or are you on Intel? Because if you're on Intel, you could try dual booting. So you just put in another hard drive or make a partition and install Windows on that. Could give you slightly better performance, especially if you're on an older machine.
Yeah, that's an interesting alternative, dual booting, but I'm not really interested in that. I'd rather have a virtual machine so that I can stay in the Mac OS. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good suggestion. I might try it anyway, just to see what it's like. But yeah, I have an Intel processor, and some applications are just not working with it yet. They'll probably catch up eventually. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. I appreciate that.
This is Chris. Got a question for you.
Go ahead, Chris.
All right, I know I said I am short time, but that piqued my interest. Have you considered running any of the Linux varieties? I don't know how the ham software, availability is for Linux, but I know it'll run really well as a virtual machine. Over.
Yeah, I mean, another good suggestion. The problem isn't with the OS that I'm going to be running in the shell in the VM. The problem is the shell software itself. I mean, there's UTM and VirtualBox and Parallels and VMware, and I've tried two of those, and they're just not compatible with the new Mac OS. As David suggests, I could do a dual boot approach. But VirtualBox and I think UTM, they have trouble with the new Mac OS. It has something to do with kernel extensions, but that's way over my head. But anyway, the ones that you pay for naturally are compatible with the newer operating systems, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't have much experience with Mac, and now I understand more of the issue there. And yeah, I've only got experience with VMware Player, provided by my work, so that's the only one I've played with, but never on a Mac. Anyway, Christian, out.
Yeah, thanks. It's all interesting to me. It's all a learning experience. I don't pretend to know anything about computers, so I'm always open to suggestions.
All right. Thanks, guys, for talking. And I will say Linux is great for ham radio software if you want to get into it. But yeah, I mean, I personally think it's very intuitive. But I've also had the hindsight of many years using it and learning by trial and error. So that's not something everyone wants to necessarily go through. And I can understand the appeal of something turnkey. With that, Sky, anything else you'd like to share, or do we have any other questions and comments for Sky before we move on to our next check-in?
I guess no more questions or comments, but thanks for running the net, David, and I hope you do well on your test. This is N5LX.
Thanks, Sky, and I mean, somewhat ashamedly, I'm repeating the course, so I've got everything down except the one new unit I was sick for and didn't show up to lecture. So hopefully it's not on the test, but it seems to be a major focus, and we'll see how that goes. Anyways, for ID, my name is David, call sign N5YAN, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our next check-in. Kilo Bravo 5, Mike Papa Juliet, Jason down in Buda. Jason, anything you'd like to share with us on the net this week? Come now.
Hey, David, this is KB5MPJ. Not too much going on. I did find pretty good HF conditions over the weekend. I was able to work quite a bit of 10 meters, and it seems like it was pretty good Saturday and Sunday, and then yesterday and Tuesday it kind of tapered off, wasn't so good. It's Southside Simplex on Tuesday. That's always a lot of fun, talking with local hams on 2-meter Simplex. And as far as ham software on Linux, there is a lot of good software. I've got Linux and Windows, and I pretty regularly use FLDigi and WSJTX and logging software called CQR Log on Linux, and it works really well. So yeah, there's good software out there for Linux, and of course a lot on Windows. I'm not sure about Mac. I don't have a Mac, so I'm not familiar with what's out there for ham radio for that. But that's about all I've got. So yeah, good luck on your test, David, and thanks for doing the net. KB5MPJ.
Sounds good, Jason, and thanks for the good. Oh gosh, my brain is failing me. Thank you for the good luck. There we go. My brain finally clicked together what you said and what I was trying to say. Okay, do we have any questions for Jason about wonderful HF propagation during the weekend, and then how it tapered off over the week, or any of the other things he discussed? Please come now with your name and call sign.
November 5, Lima X-ray.
Go for it, Sky.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, it was interesting to see what the propagation was doing, and I was kind of stoked, that the propagation was really good over the weekend. But I guess we're kind of back to where it was. Kind of like we're coming out of a drought. Hopefully, I'm hoping for more rain, but also good propagation to go along with it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get on HF today, so I don't know what it was like. But I did hear about a coronal mass ejection, that there was some kind of big solar storm that hit the Earth, and that kind of knocked the HF back down. So maybe that when that clears, or hopefully that all that'll clear, and we'll get some better conditions here real soon. KB5MPJ.
Yeah, 20 meters kind of picked up a little bit this afternoon. Not much, but yeah, I'm hoping it gets better. That's all. I just wanted to say hello. And back to you, David. This is N5LX.
Awesome. Thank you, Sky and Jason, for checking in tonight. And in the spirit of keeping the net short, we're not going to go to a second round of check-ins. Apologies for anyone who's just now joining us. What I will say, if you want to join us next week, you can find us here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And for anyone who didn't catch this part, this is the University of Texas Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net, a service of the University of Texas Amateur Radio Club. Call sign November 5, X-ray uniform. If you'd like to join us again in the future, just tune in at 8 p.m. on the KA5D repeater system or the N508K repeater system. You can also check their all-star status at November 5, no, not our website, ka5d.com/repeaters, and there you've got all-star link status. So you can see if your local repeater is linked up to our net. If you'd like to sign up for our email list or do our event calendar, you can go to sites.utexas.edu/November 5 X-ray uniform. My name is David, call sign November 5, Yankee Alpha November, and from my QTH here in North Campus, 7 3s. It's been nice running the net, and thanks again to everyone who was participating or listened in. This system is now returned to regular amateur radio use. 7 3s.
K5JM Mobile.
K5JM, KB5MPJ.
KP5MPJ, K5JM. Hey, good evening, Jason. Nice to hear you out there.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, good to hear you. How's it going?
Yeah, doing good here. Just headed home after a dinner. And, yeah, that's about it. I guess, sounds like y'all were having the UT net tonight. I guess just missed it. But, what's been new in your world?
Not too much. Visited some friends over the weekend and went swimming at Deep Eddy. Did a little bit of HF and did Southside Simplex last night. You know, so doing a little bit. You know, when I'm not working. What about you?
Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't get on the Southside Simplex last night. I ended up working kind of late, and as much as I love chatting on radio, there's a disproportionate work amount that happens when radio happens, so I had to miss out. I haven't really done much on HF this week. I'm going to be around for the net tomorrow night for CW Net. Maybe we'll hear you on. And I think I heard Sky out there, you know, talking about propagation stuff. So did that 6 and 10 meter openings that seem to go away after this weekend?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it did. Saturday and Sunday were good, and then you know, Monday and Tuesday not so much. I did a little bit of 20 meter FT8 last night. It seemed to still be open, but I still didn't make a whole lot of contacts. But I did get, I think, Argentina last night. But yeah, that 10 meter opening, I don't have 6, but I had 10 and 11, and both were open, and that's always pretty exciting. I always enjoy 10 meters. It's kind of one of my favorite bands when it's active.
Yeah, you know, I remember when I got, well, I was first licensed in ham radio like in 2001, but I, you know, let it expire eventually just as a technician. So when I got relicensed in 2016, yeah, we were definitely not in a good solar condition. It just seemed like, you know, how these bands on my radios that didn't work, you know, like 10 meters was pretty rare. You didn't hear anything, 6 of course, 12. So 20 and 40 was always kind of the sweet spot. But, yeah, I've really come to appreciate 10 and like the trans-equatorial path and stuff. And then I think, I have to go back and look at my log. I think I worked 10 meters on Japan here earlier this year. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that was on CW.
Yeah, that's cool that you worked them on CW. I think I've only worked Japan on FT8. I checked one time, you know, because I checked the POTA website, and it looks like there's a fair amount of POTA activity in Japan, and there was a CW station, but I wasn't able to hear them. I was hoping that, you know, maybe if I can often hear Japan on FT8, that I could hear them on CW, but I just wasn't getting them. So maybe, you know, just the band wasn't open for me, you know, for me in their direction.
Yeah, that could be tough too, especially in a POTA environment. Maybe they're getting crowded out. But yeah, I was saying that contact, they were definitely doing the heavy lifting. I went and actually looked at their QRZ page, and it's just like jaw dropping. Like it's just like something out of like a, I don't know, like a story or something. It's like this, you know, like foggy, misty Japanese mountain, and this giant Yagi with this little house on top of this giant mountain. I was like, wow, that was a super cool station. So I was really honored to work there, to contact, and thinking, you know, just the path of radio signals bouncing from there to here from my backyard. So pretty cool stuff. Always things like that always re-energize me when you get that one like contact and you just look at their stuff and you're just like, wow, I can't believe we just talked to each other.
Yeah, I've checked out some of the Japan QRZ pages of ones that I've reached, and a lot of them are pretty neat. Like you said, there'll be like a picture of misty mountains and a pagoda, and it's kind of that, picturesque, what you might think of like a Japanese garden or something. And yeah, it's neat to think, that you're talking to someone in a place like that. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they get equally excited, but I don't know, if they went to Google Street View, they could see the neighbors with their Christmas lights still up, and someone with a car in their yard, just all the fun stuff of city life. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy working with anybody, but sometimes you get one of those contacts and you just kind of makes you sit there for a minute. But yeah, whether it's on a repeater or local or far away, it's all been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know if they just put a stock photo on their QRZ, but it did look pretty neat.
K5JM. Yeah, Pat was telling me about this. I started actually kind of taking his advice on it. Occasionally, like some of these OMs or whatever, they have their QRZ page, they haven't maybe updated it in 10 or 15 years. And so you're looking for maybe things to write to about, whether it's on CW or otherwise, and ask them, tell me about your dog. It's like, the dog's been dead for 10 years, and so is my wife. And he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'd feel bad, but then, they might want to update their QRZ page if they don't want to get that on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are more tech savvy than others for sure. But speaking of which, I don't know if I've updated mine a little bit, but I think it's all still pretty much up to date. But yeah, also I missed the Texas QSO party. I always say I'm going to work it, and I always seem to miss it.
Yeah, I didn't do it either. What's it all about? Like what modes and what kind of what's the premise of it?
Well, definitely not the expert, but like a lot of the states, they'll have like the Idaho QSO part, whatever. Each state kind of at some point will have their own. And so the idea is just kind of like with anything, like if you're out of state, you want to work Texas contacts. Then I guess if you want to get extra points, you want to. I think maybe if they break it down by counties, the more counties you get and all the whatever the multipliers. But then I guess if you're in Texas, call ECQ helps and vice versa, right? You want to work as many other Texas stations, or I don't know what the scoring is if you get as many points for other counties or out-of-state contacts. But yeah, you're basically just drumming up activity that's has a Texas focus.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna look it up here because I don't think I even knew it was going on this weekend. I wouldn't have had a chance to really. I mean, maybe I could have when I was trying 10 meters and all that, but I probably wouldn't get anybody on 10, and that's kind of where I was operating just because I was excited that it was that it was active. Seems like usually I tend to skip over most of Texas on 10 meters. I can hear people talking to Texas stations, but I never hear them, and it's usually quite a bit farther away that I reach on 10.
Yeah, that's typically my experience. I've definitely worked some 10 meter ground wave stuff, like they had the 10 meter and 6 meter net on the weekends, and I think it's either on Saturdays maybe it's Sundays, maybe Saturday. And sometimes you can barely hear anybody, but then sometimes you hear someone coming in from different part of the country or the world. And I've worked, there was a guy, I don't know, maybe you've worked him too, I forget his call. He was 10 meters mobile, and I've rarely ever heard anyone 10 meters like mobile in Austin. So that was kind of cool. He's just driving around with a 10 meter rig on.
KB5MPJ. Yeah, I never had much luck with the 10 meter net. I tried different antenna configurations, and I've had it where they could hear me and I could barely hear them. I don't know. There may be some terrain or something, because Ernesto and I have tried it and we weren't able to reach each other. So I guess maybe the ground wave's kind of getting blocked from me here in Buda. I can talk to Ray. He's over in South Austin, maybe 10 miles away, and we talk every now and then on 11 meters. So I know I can get out some, but at some point it gets blocked, and I'm not making it into Austin. But yeah, most of my 10 meters been a little, quite a bit farther away contact.
K5JM. Yeah, and you being kind of south of town there might be outside of that skip or whatever the ground wave zone. I think a lot of people on the 10 meter nets are maybe central or north Austin, so that might just be a little too far for that. But yeah, I've worked old Ray. I think we've worked every band from it's like 3 miles. His house is like 3 miles away maybe. By ground, I think we've done everything from 80 through 6. I think we tried some really weird things, which I guess they're allowed, but maybe they weren't so great ideas. Like we did like 12 meter FM, which you think about the 12 meter band is a pretty, as far as bandwidth goes, it's not a very big band, but we tried FM, which of course is a wide signal, but we did it at night and just for a minute or two. But yeah, it's easy to hear Ray on any radio.
Yeah, I'm sure doing 12 meters at night is probably no big deal because, you're probably not going to get much propagation anyway. Yeah, he and I, we did 11 meter FM. You can do that now, and so we tried it, and we're able to reach each other. We did AM, FM, and SSB, so, I know I can reach him there. I checked one time when Ernesto and I were trying, like 10 and 11, couldn't reach each other, and I checked out the line of sight, and it looks like there is kind of a drop-off over there where he is, so he's lower, and it almost looks like his signal would maybe go right into the terrain. So I think that may have something to do with why I can't reach him.
Yeah, it makes sense. People always said like Austin was like a bowl, and I never really thought about it until I looked up the topography maps. And yeah, it really is like, as you, like at least from my little spot here in South Austin, you drive downtown, you drop. I don't know how many feet you drop, but it's significant. And then as you go out east, it kind of flattens out west to east. But you kind of go into this little bowl as you get it down by the river. And that's pretty cool about the 11 meter FM. I wonder why that has become a thing. I'd heard maybe like in the UK that maybe they've always had that privilege. I don't know. But that's pretty cool. And I'll just say my other band or mode that I've enjoyed, which I don't use it very much, is AM. And on the weekends, I've had some success with it, like on 40 meters AM and even like 80 meter AM. There was a group of like locals, not say local, like regional people who get on there. But they normally, they have like the old tube rigs or something with running like, QRO power with AM. And just like with the 590 it only does like 25 watts AM carrier. But there was once or twice I got in there, they said that guy was one of the strongest signals in the group, which they're just being nice. It kind of made me feel special, like got this little, out of the box rig, no special modified transceivers to do. Big power AM, but that was kind of fun. It's got like a nice fidelity to it.
Yeah, I've made a few 10-meter AM contacts. There's an AM calling frequency. I think it's 28600. I may be wrong, but made a few contacts there. I've never joined in on the 80-meter AM. I've heard him talking a little bit, but I didn't really stick around. I didn't know if it was one of the AM groups that wants people to check in, or if they're the kind that'll tell you to just go away. But I've got I do have a QRO set up that'll do AM if I ever want to try it, but I just haven't tried it on AM.
Yeah, you're right. I guess some of those would be a little like cliquish, I guess. But maybe it's the 40-meter group I'm thinking about. But they seem really friendly, and so it didn't seem like a big deal. But yeah, that's about it. I was thinking about other 80-meter stuff. I was thinking 3922, the Big Bend net. Did you say you've checked into that before?
No, never have. When is that?
Let's see. It's either Saturday or Sunday mornings. I have to go back and look now. I always get confused. But if you go to Big Bend Amateur Radio Club, it'll pop up there. They call it the emergency net, and it's just like they're practicing their stuff. But they usually have a roster, so they'll go geographically by city and call out people on the roster. And when they get to Austin, they'll usually call my name because I've checked in before. But the new person, normally when they get to the end of the roster, they'll normally ask if there's anyone else who wants to check in, or if you're going to stay for the round table, this and that. Sometimes I can hear them really good. Sometimes the net control is really, really hard to hear, so I just go in and out. But Jake has told me he's been able to hear me before, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I see the net here, 8:15 a.m. on Sunday. Okay, yeah, I may have to try that. Yeah, I'm sure it probably just depends on the propagation, if for how well they're going to hear you. So is Jake living out there now or something? I thought I heard that he moved somewhere.
Yeah, he's out there full time now. He bought a house in Fort Davis, and he's been kind of sprucing that up. So I think he's now like the youngest member of their radio club, and he's been helping them with some repeater maintenance on some of the mountains. So he's like basically in his element out there.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm sure they could, use a little younger member out there to be able to work on some antennas and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably a good thing. I don't even know if I've talked to him since he left, but I did remember hearing that he moved out there somewhere.
Yeah, he was living right next to Skid Row there by Ben Wise, so he was definitely ready to get out, and he got a good price for his house over there, so away he went. But yeah, I'll have to go out there and see him here before too long. Well, hey Jason, thanks for coming back to my call. I just rolled to the garage here, so I'm going to run outside and get cleaned up and all that stuff. But maybe I'll hear you around for the Thursday night net.
Okay, yeah, I should be here on Thursday. So yeah, if I'm home early enough, I'll try to get y'all on CW, and if not, I'll talk to you on the FM net.
All right, man, sounds like a plan. Hey, have a good night, and maybe holler at you later. K5JM, I'll say 73.
Okay, good talking to you, Sam. KB5MPJ, clear with K5JM, 73.